earth is ghetto. I wanna leave. Can you beam me up? I'm out on the street by the corner store. You know the one on 15. Got a bright shirt on, so easy to see. I've been down here stranded indefinitely. I can't reach my planet, but I need to leave. You should see these people. It's hard to believe how they treat each other. It's hard to conceive. Oh, earth is ghetto. I wanna leave. Oh, earth is ghetto. I wanna leave. I wanna leave.
All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, you guys. This is your girl J.O.E. back with another episode of Shit Under My Nails. And today's episode, we're going to cover a couple of different things. We're going to cover January the 6th, which is going to be one of the most monumental days, as well as with today being inauguration day for the new president, Joe Biden, and as well, our first black slash whatever interracial situation she is, but she's also black and she's a woman, Vice President Miss Kamala Harris. And y'all stay tuned. All right, so we're gonna start off today about the situation that happened on January the 6th. Now, for me personally, I'm not for sure about everybody else. I've been trying to mentally process the entire situation. Okay. If for those who don't know, because I do have a decent fan base out in Kenya, Africa, and a couple of different areas over the water. In the United States on January the 6th of 2021, a couple of the African American community has so many different names for this group, but we're going to call them Vanilla Ices. We're going to call those thugs and gangsters that decided that they wanted to take a stance. They wanted to storm the Capitol, the big building in Washington, D.C., where the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, and he delivered a speech which technically everybody said that he was basically kind of sort of boosting this whole let's march to the Capitol and all this other bullshit. So I'm gonna let y'all hear this a little bit and then I'm gonna come back with the rest of my commentary.
Never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about. And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. Today, I will lay out just some of the evidence proving that we won this election, and we won it by a landslide. This was not a close election. You know, I say sometimes jokingly, but there's no joke about it. I've been in 2 elections. I won them both, and the second one, I won much bigger than the first, okay? Almost 75 million people voted for our campaign, the most of any incumbent president by far in the history of our country. 12 million more people than 4 years ago. And I was told by the real pollsters, we do have real pollsters, they know that we were going to do well and we were going to win. What I was told, if I went from 63 million, which we had 4 years ago, to 66 million, there was no chance of losing. Well, we didn't go to 66, we went to 75 million, and they say we lost, we didn't lose. It is hard to put into words what exactly we witnessed today because we have not seen this before. Thousands storming the Capitol after a rally with President Trump, during which he urged them to march on the Capitol, where a joint session of Congress was debating and working to certify the election as our democracy dictates. Instead, they were halted by protesters who smashed through the doors, broke their way into the Capitol, making it to the Senate chamber, and throughout the Capitol, overwhelming police. Lawmakers diving for cover, told to shelter in place, the country watching, the world watching what America looked like today. The mob storming the barriers, pushing through this door, Capitol Police unable to hold them back. Others smashing through windows at the Capitol. There were so many chaotic moments, the tense interactions with Capitol Police overwhelmed, members of Congress and their staffs rushing for cover, reporters told not to reveal their whereabouts. This image tonight of a man walking through Statuary Hall carrying a Confederate flag. Another startling image from inside the office of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Some trying to breach the House chamber, armed security barricading the door, keeping them out. Behind them, members were taking shelter, some of them on the floor, some told to grab their gas masks to protect against tear gas. In an empty Senate chamber, this Trump supporter at the front of the chamber declaring Donald Trump won that election. The march to the Capitol following those words from President Trump, speaking to his supporters, who he invited to Washington, saying, "You have to show strength," telling them to march to the Hill. And as nightfall approached tonight, the heavy presence, the National Guard joining local police and the FBI, the curfew now in effect. And of course, so many questions tonight. How was this allowed to happen? Where was the security? With the president encouraging these protests for weeks now. We're going to begin tonight with our chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
Chaos and lawlessness striking at the heart of American democracy, breaking out after the President of the United States urged an angry mob of his own supporters to confront members of Congress and even his own vice president, who were preparing to certify the election. They stormed the Capitol, clashing with police, breaking windows, scaling the scaffolding, fights breaking out in restricted areas of the building, officers outnumbered. In the House chamber, lawmakers dove for cover beneath their desks. Agents with guns drawn, their fingers on the trigger, guarding the barricaded door.
We've been instructed to each of us get gas masks that are under our seats.
The demonstrators, some in tactical gear, were urged to go to the Capitol by the president himself.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
Donald Trump lost the election by more than 7 million votes. His lawsuits were rejected by dozens of judges, but still, he told his followers that the election was rigged, and he demanded that his vice president reject the electoral votes and overturn the election in Congress today.
Mike Pence is going to have to come through for us, and if he doesn't, that will be a sad day for our country.
But finally, after more than 4 years of unfailing loyalty, Mike Pence broke with Donald Trump. The moment caught on a hot mic.
Announce my statement out. Yes, sir, it is.
Pence's statement was blunt. "I do not believe that the founders of our country intended to invest the vice president with unilateral authority to decide which electoral votes should be counted." Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell broke with the president too, telling his sharply divided Republican colleagues that this election must stand.
The voters, the courts, and the states have all spoken. They've all spoken. If we overrule them, it would damage our republic forever. Our democracy would enter a death spiral.
McConnell was blunt. The president did not come close to proving his false claims, he said, and he sharply criticized the 13 Republican senators who planned to challenge the election results.
It would be unfair and wrong to disenfranchise American voters and overrule the courts and the states on this extraordinarily thin basis. And I will not pretend such a vote would be a harmless protest gesture while relying on others to do the right thing.
One of those 13 senators, Ted Cruz of Texas tried to make his case.
I am not arguing for setting aside the result of this election. We appoint an electoral commission to conduct a 10-day emergency audit, consider the evidence, and resolve the claims.
But there have already been audits and recounts and more than 30 court cases thrown out. The president's own attorney general said there was no evidence of substantial fraud. And minutes after Cruz spoke, the bedlam broke out in the Capitol. Pence was whisked to safety by the Secret Service. The building went into lockdown, but protesters were already inside, marching through Statuary Hall. One man carried a large Confederate flag just outside the Senate chamber, and inside another took to the podium himself to declare Trump had won the election. And look at this. A rioter broke into the office of the Speaker of the House and put his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. All over, scenes of violence and disorder. One woman was shot inside the Capitol, and ABC's Rachel Scott saw her being carried away.
They brought out a woman on a stretcher, rushed her inside. We did see blood gushing from her.
On television and on Twitter, Republican lawmakers begging President Trump to tell his supporters to go home.
Call it off, Mr. President. We need you to call this off.
But for hours while his supporters rampaged through the Capitol, Trump remained inside the White House, silent.
All right, so let's bring in John Carl. He's live at the White House tonight because, John, you know, after so much pressure from Republicans and Democrats alike for the president to tell his supporters to go home, late this afternoon, the president did release that 1-minute video message on Twitter. In it, he, again, and we should point this out, falsely claims that he won in a landslide in an election that he lost by 7 million votes before then telling supporters to go home. Take a look.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt.
And John, the president, we were told, is watching this all play out on live television today, along with the rest of the country, but refusing to condemn the violence from his own supporters. What are you hearing tonight from your sources inside the White House about how able they are to actually communicate with the president?
Well, first of all, David, Twitter, I'm told, had just removed that video because of the false statements about the election. And it's notable that in that video, he actually went on to say to the people that stormed the Capitol, and this is an exact quote, "Go home. We love you. You are very special." Just a short while ago, he tweeted that these are the events and the things that happen when, quote, "great patriots have been badly and unfairly treated for so long." So in other words, he is actually justifying the actions of those that stormed the Capitol. As for what's going on inside the White House, very little coming out. I can tell you I've spoken to several people close to the president who are deeply frustrated, in fact, horrified by the way he has handled this.
But as you point out, John, he did not condemn what he witnessed at the Capitol today, saying you are very special to those supporters. John, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Steff.
I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
All right. So as you heard, that was just like a small snippet of the actual entire speech that he gave before the real thing actually happened. He basically directed these people, who we will call them a threat to society because that is what they did. He directed them to go up to the Capitol building. Let's march. Let's go up to the Capitol building. Yada, yada, yada. And true to his actual leadership, he was nowhere to be found at this whole let's march to the Capitol. And when I tell you, all hell broke loose. I'm going to let you hear a little small snippet of what actually happened from the actual ABC News clip. But it was a mess. And it was atrocious. And I can't believe that this is real America that we live in. Check this out.
I'm waiting to act like a total asshole, and I've been arrested in about 3.5 years.
I know that.
All you folks that are laying on the floor, it's up to you if you want to be arrested.
All right, if you guys see the
You gotta concentrate. You don't like to go through all of that. Hang your chest, please. We're going to give you a chance here. If you want to be arrested, that's your option. We can help you with that. But we advise you to stand up. If not, you'll be arrested. Okay?
All right, so people, if you haven't heard, now you've heard. When all of the African Americans that were killed recently in the year 2020 and beyond that, we've always done a very peaceful protest. It's always been in a peaceful manner, right? This peaceful manner was specifically just us laying on the floor. We're laying on the floor. On January the 6th of 2021, these white people climbed buildings. They were armed and fucking dangerous. They were spraying pepper spray at officers. They were kicking their feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk, saying we will not back down, stealing mail, announcing on the freaking podium floor that Donald Trump won the election compared to what really actually happened. A few people got shot. One were presumed dead, according to the reports that I've seen. She died from trying to storm the Capitol. And let's be honest here, people. I mean, this is reality. Reality is this. the fact that a whole Black Lives Matter movement will come and lay on your floor peacefully with no guns, with no bulletproof vest, with no pepper spray, with no anything. Because they know, because I know, that if we were ever put into those predicaments, for a fact, we will be shot. We will be hung. We will be thrown in jail to rot for the rest of our entire freaking lives. Now, I never wanted to get into politics on my podcast, under my nails, but unfortunately, because of everything that is actually going on, I can't help myself. I'm watching from a distance, and I'm sitting up here and I'm seeing how much of the US of A's ass has been shown. A fucking fact. And that's a problem. Like, who the fuck does that? You are helping guide these people, these older white people, down the Capitol building after they have stormed your property. And from what I've known, if you go on somebody else's property, that's definitely a permission slip to get your ass beat. They are helping these people out of the building that they stormed, a Capitol fucking building. There are pictures. I honestly, I've never been so disgusted in my life. And that's a fact. Never. I wish it was more of a situation where I could sit here and say, well, maybe, but I can't. As bad as I would like to, I definitely cannot, will not, can't, don't do it. And that's exactly one of the many reasons why they say Earth is definitely ghetto. Definitely ghetto. It's just, and for us African Americans to sit back and just not deal with it, that makes me happy on the inside, and I'm super duper proud, not only of my African Americans, I'm proud of anybody who just took a stance, sat on their couch, got their blanket, grabbed their popcorn, and watched as the bullshit happened and continued to happen. From what was told, because of the intense situation that happened on January the 6th, your former president, Donald Trump, was actually banned from Twitter, which he should have been banned a long time ago. Why did they let it go on this far? That I do not know. But you know what? It's okay. We're just gonna keep it moving. So after all of that was said and done, of course the country was still in a disarray, and black people was just like smacking on popcorn like, hey, we knew this day was coming. You crackers thought you would never snap, and look at you now. So they stormed the Capitol, and we sat back and watched. After that, like it was stated, basically, supposedly, Donald Trump was actually banned from Twitter for like 12 hours and then Facebook for like a couple of hours, which I'm just saying, let it be us. Let it be us. Guess what's gonna happen? We're getting banned for more than a couple of hours. We're getting banned days at a time. But you know what? I'm not even mad. So, since I haven't been on here and I actually have to definitely catch up, we're gonna do our favorite segment of the day. Let's scroll through the shade room.
Ain't light in my life cause I'm on the shade room. Lost an hour out of my life scrolling in the shade room. Had to throw my Ray-Bans, ain't no rays in the shade room. Yeah. I don't care cause it's lit in the shade room. In the shade room. In the shade room. Is it wrong? Is it right? In the shade room. In the shade room. In the shade room.
All right, y'all. So as I'm scrolling through the shade room, and of course, I love. If you don't know, go on to Instagram and look up the Shade Room. They are one of the most verified, popular gossip Instagram pages that you could ever get. I actually have to go way back because of the simple fact there's so much going on. For those who don't know, our former president agreed to give us a $600 stimulus per person. And for those who did not get their $600 stimulus, which is $600 plus whatever dependents you had, you will have to file that actual credit on your 2021 when they officially say, hey, it's time for us to file our taxes in 2021. What else? So it also looks like one of Future's baby mothers is planning to subpoena the Wells Fargo bank account to show that he is financially capable of taking care of the financial expenses of one of his umpteenth million children. The baby and Dangly, I can never say this girl's name right, but supposedly they are going strong, and that's just kind of what it is. Let's see what else they have going on. And for those who don't know, it looks like Lauryn Hill actually made a statement about releasing her debut album, solo studio album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, back in 1998. And although that this was one of her only solo album projects, it has been deemed basically a classic. This album earned the 10th spot on the Rolling Stone list of 500 greatest albums, making it the highest ranked hip-hop album on their list. Lauren answered a few questions via email for Rolling Stone, giving her the congratulations podcasters as she reflects on the recording process and the years following its release. Basically, she said that the wild thing is no one from the label has ever called me and asked me, how can we help you make another album? Ever. Did I say ever? Ever. So, I'm not going to necessarily say that she sounds salty, but what I will say is, I mean, you would think after one of the greatest albums that she actually created, one of her greatest solo project, that they would actually try to give her more, but unfortunately they didn't, which is kind of odd. I'm a little surprised, just a little bit. And it also looks like that the Louisville Police Department have fired the 2 detectives who were involved in the raid that led to the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor. Fire them is nah. It should be more like y'all should be in jail for murder. Maybe. I feel so. Of course, as I'm looking on the Shade Room, January the 6th, it shows that Trump supporters make their way inside of the Capitol building, and there are plenty of pictures to basically say Donald Trump actually tweeted that please support our Capitol police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. It sounds real fucking arrogant, like a motherfucker. What they ended up doing, they ended up making Washington, D.C.'s curfew being 6 p.m. So if your ass was outside after 6 p.m., your ass was basically grass. Okay? There were, and I'm looking at the pictures, it's so freaking horrific. It's ridiculous. So ridiculous. Like, I wish I could say anything different. I wish. And actually our current president, because he's getting inducted right now, he actually addressed, Donald Trump and told him to basically have your people back the fuck down, bro. He didn't want to do it. He was very upset at the simple fact that, people weren't really going by the votes, and it didn't make any sense to him. But hey, to each his own. There was also a little I wouldn't even necessarily call it a feud, but I actually took the time out to watch both videos of Sweetie and what's the girl's name? Doja Cat. And it's really crazy because I love both of them. Sweetie and Doja Cat actually made a video and a song called Best Friend. Sorority is a group that was originated from YouTube. Two best friends that created a YouTube. They do a lot of dances. They are very fun girls. They created a song a couple of months before Best Friend came out with Sweetie called BFF. I'm not gonna say I hate it because I don't, but I will say this. There are some very similar, yeah, okay, I guess you can call it similar here and there, whatever. That is what I can say. So much shit has been going on the Shade Room, and because I'm so fucking far behind, I can't even get into all of the things that has happened since January the 6th. But just know, the next episode I'm gonna go ahead and get y'all back up to date with the Shade Room, because I mean, who else doesn't like that? Now, I will say this. Your boy is getting inducted into the hall, okay? Joe Biden is actually your current president. Well, new president Joe Biden, he has created this big $1 trillion plan that he wants to put into effect within the first 100 days of him being in office. One of them being that he give a $2,000 stimulus check to everyone, as well as, to stimulate the economy, as well as give a $600 stimulus. If that was already given out, you have yours. If not, definitely know for a fact you will be receiving it soon. And if you haven't received it by now, which I haven't, I'm going to actually claim it on my taxes that I file in February. As well as they've also stated that there's going to be free vaccination for COVID-19. Now, that is the only part of his plan that I'm just not fooling with. He also states in his plan he wants to do a $10,000 student loan forgiveness. I want to say it said until the end of the year, but all in all, what I can say is Joe Biden is coming in real strong with all his heavy promises. We will see what happens as the months progress for him being president. He will be president for the next 4 years. But yeah, this is a very refreshing episode. So I can honestly say I can appreciate that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to just hit me up just to say you want to hit me up or whatever the case may be, you want to just speak to me or anything, because I'm very, very, very approachable. You can always hit me on all my different social media platforms. I am known as DURTTY_Joe on TikTok. I'm also known I am also known on Instagram. Sorry, guys. I am also known on Instagram as Navadia, which is my actual biological name, _the_J.O.E._B. So, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to reach at me, you can always also hit me on my Facebook as well. That's pretty much a good way to hit me as well. If you have any questions for the next couple of episodes, I would definitely appreciate the input. All in all, if we are here together, and hopefully you are saying this with me because you are a long time listener, it's always going to be a beautiful day on the south side of GA. Peace. I gotta go pay some bills.